We are talking about coaching. What is Rosanna was saying that the intention, and also you were talking about the listening, and it's the heart. It just occurred to me that the heart, you're talking about the mind and heart works together. So in Islam, and the Quran talks about qalbun salim, a sound heart. The people who really purify their heart, and with the heart they make it intention and decision. What we were talking at the beginning, that all these values are similar, but just, you know, practiced in a slightly different way. You were saying that the communication and the vow and the commitment is very important for somebody who come to sort of, you know, learning this and coaching with you. But how would you find out that there is no commitment? Because the person who comes to you are piled up with lots of negativity, with lots of blockage. It's not easy to open that. But I'm coming back to you, Elena. I want you to elaborate on this for a few minutes.
The way I found out if there's no commitment, it's very easy. If there's no commitment, the person will not be interested and will not carry on. Just very naturally. It's very organic. But even before I start embarking on the journey, after an initial consultation, which I always do, a brief initial free consultation, in which I explain how the dynamic, how it works, coaching works, and then if the person chooses to go ahead, we sign this contract, and for however many sessions, and it's, in a way, at the beginning, it's up to me to actually understand and perceive if the person is ready for change. But it's always, I always ask permission. I always put the ball into their court, and I always give them a choice. And the person will carry on. And if halfway through the journey the person changes their mind or feels that cannot keep up the commitment, or I feel that maybe we've hit a point where maybe something else is required, maybe therapy, because coaching and therapy are slightly different. There are things that overlap, but
coaching I wanted to ask about this actually, yes.
Yeah, coaching is more pragmatic, and as Elena was saying at the beginning, it's a journey that takes you from where you are to where you want to go, whereas therapy, it's different. It's more talking about the past. It's not as proactive.
Right. What has just occurred to my mind that you talk about the heart and the mind. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, when you speak from the heart, it will set in the heart of the opposition. It's so important, the heart, you do the action from the heart, because the heart is a completely different element than the brain, and it has got more compassion and love. Elena, elaborate on that. Talk about the Islamic perspective, then we come to you, get about what Buddha was saying.
Well, in Islam, Islam is submission. Islam is not theology, it's the deen, is a way of life. And what you do has to be in practice. Practice is important. And it has to come from the heart. So the heart is really important. It cannot be just a rational thing, like the recitation of the Quran comes to your heart. It is highly hypnotic, if I may say, because it's not poetry, it doesn't rhyme, so you lose the rhythm. And it's not, you cannot rationalize it too much, because you will have to be an expert to understand. That's a revelation. It's not something you can discuss in rational terms only. It is something designed to get to the heart of the person. So it is recited in a very emotional way. People cry. It is it's highly emotional. So the emotional point is essential. We know that the heart has a magnetic field that is 5,000 times more potent than that of the brain. And that magnetic field is measurable. It does affect in waves that we don't see the mood of others. And when there is a mood going on in a group, that can affect the whole society. So society can be positive and can be hysterical.
Well, you said the Quran would just sort of being creative to open the people's heart. That one side of Quran. There are many
It's so
sides.
important. That's why we stop and praying. When we pray, we're not supposed to interrupt it, regardless of what happens. There may be war around us. We keep still.
Yes.
We have. So
It's the focusing that
the
the
stillness.
Quran and the prayer teaches you.
It's
Yeah.
the stillness that has to be found within you, because then that allows your vision to become strong, clearer, and more profound, and then you find within you the answers. So that's so important, and the prayer is it has all the characteristics of hypnosis and the characteristics of other techniques that we use in neurolinguistic programming, and those are the anchoring techniques that anchor your good emotions while you are praying to your body. That's why we physically bow, and we have certain rakas where we bend, we put our forehead to the ground, and we feel the earth. By the way, we bow towards Mecca, and there's a magnetic field that goes towards the direction of Mecca all at the same time. The earth takes the magnetism of these electromagnetic waves away from you when you're bowing down, and your heart recharges.
So scientifically explained, yeah.
We do it all the time automatically without understanding that is hypnosis. That's just another
But it
word.
still has got the effect when you do it.
It has
Maybe
the
you know,
effect.
the brain has been explained that the front of the brain is very rebellious. When you prostrate, it will take that off. And when the rebellious mood of a human being remove from it, because of the prostration, it would bring the harmony and the peace into the back, and straight away that peace goes to the heart.
Yes, and that was
okay.
really important to remember from a holistic point of view and a therapeutic point of view, that the rationality is not so important. It is a base that has a certain value.
Obviously, it has got the rationality inside of it too. Okay.
It is considered as a faithful servant, something that you can follow and rely on. That, however, it is at a lower level than what is your intuition, and that's in Islamic Tib Unani medicine. The experimentation, I think tarbiyah, the experimenting has its role, but it's lower than intuition. Intuition is the step forward that comes from your centering, from your senses of this magnetism that's around you, from the inspiration that the universe, that Allah gives you. That's your intuition. And higher up than anything else, we have revelation. That was the medical hierarchy of traditional medicine. As a medical herbalist, I've looked into that. And today's science has gone the other way around, where the experimentation, the rational servant, is more important than intuition and revelation down the bottom, whereas it should be right the other way around.
It should be the other way around,
yes.
That's why they keep making a mistake. Okay.
Neurolinguistic programming is not an academic science. It's maybe one of the only therapies that is not academic. It's an ensemble of techniques that concentrates on pure practice, on the way of life, on what it can actually be enacted there and then. It's not looking at the past. You just touch on briefly and move forward. It's not getting stuck in your emotions, and in all dynamics is breaking from everything that is stale to move to the next step. It's recharging, reprogramming. We do that through our prayer. And then in Islam is very much about that, because we know that from revelation that the Quran Allah has come to us with revelation to say is put generations against generations, fathers against sons, sons against fathers. So it is important to keep the boundary, the relationship with the family, provided these are ethical. But in the end, we are not stuck on tradition. Learning from the past, but we're not stuck into our negative habits. So it's important to know that. When modern science is done, is cut the past completely, and that's wrong, and move forward without the past. And sometimes there are people who will take the past and not move towards the future. We need to link these two.
They're all like a chain connected to one another.
Yeah.
What's your view from the Buddhist point of view?
Yes, Buddhism has similar structures, similar values. I practice Buddhism based on Lotus Sutra, which is not really mainstream. And first of all, the first thing that we do...
The Lotus Sutra is a new form of Buddhist?
There are many sutras, but in the Lotus Sutra it is said that the Buddha actually taught the essential teachings. The most important thing in the sutra is about the heart and your intention. So when we chant, our form of prayer is chanting, and we chant the title of the Lotus Sutra, which goes Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, and it's a mantra that we repeat. And the sentence means so many things, and in a way it's like if you recite the title of the sutra, you're basically reciting all the teachings contained in the essential teachings of the sutra. Like medicine, you take it, you don't know how it works, but it makes you feel better. And over time, it's a very simple thing to do, but to uphold is very difficult, because over time it's like polishing your life by reciting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, and it goes directly. It's not something that is very logical, but and in fact in that particular sutra, Buddha said, I can only Buddhas can understand this teaching. Meaning that if you use your logic, you will not understand. So you mean only
Buddhas who, the people who want to be like Buddha.
Yes,
it's not only the Buddha, the person who was the founder of this teaching.
Yes.
Like many Muslim scholars claim that he's a prophet. So you said the Buddhas only can understand that. You mean the only people who try to be like a Buddha in a higher spiritual level can feel that spirituality. And you said to repeat this. Yeah. It's so, just very amazing, just occurred to me. It's like zikrullah, remembering the name of God, is similar. When you do it, it just affects your heart.
Yeah. And the curious thing is that Buddha says most of the things written in the Lotus Sutra are not really instructions. They're just a praise of what the Buddha nature is, the praise of the universe. So it's like, it is poetry because it is written in verse as well. And there are a lot of stories, like for example the story of this bodhisattva, the bodhisattva is someone who aspires to become like Buddha, to obtain the Buddha way, and polishes their life. And in a way, it's like polishing your life is becoming a master of your mind. This bodhisattva was called Never Disparaging, and he would go around bowing to everybody.
Humbling themselves.
Sorry?
Humbling themselves.
He was bowing in respect to everyone, and say, I would never disparage you because you're on a way you're aspiring to the Buddha way, so you are worthy of respect, whether you know it or not.
If a Muslim person comes to you as a coaching, do you think your own belief and your own education of that form of belief have got an effect on your teaching, or unconsciously or consciously would you sort of, direct the person to that line? Or that's got nothing to do with it, you just get a big help from that calm and peacefulness that is in you?
Well, that is at the center of everything I do. So what motivates me to coach people is my desire to serve and aid their journey and facilitate their journey of growth. And I have clients who are practicing Muslims, and again it's this one heart-to-heart connection that it's what's the driving force.
Yes,
so it doesn't come. Yes, it doesn't come. The religious practice doesn't even come into the conversation.
I see.
But through connecting and the sharing of the values.